come to visit Medici Villa in Rome. It's all the way up from the Spanish steps. And they only do guided tours. We got guided tour at 12. For both of us, ticket cost 28 euros.
So the gardens in total occupy 7 hectares of land and are divided in 3 main parts. The first part is on the top of this lodge where we see the trees. This is an artificial woodland, an unusual element in the Italian Renaissance gardens. But this place, other than an open-air museum, was also kind of an open-air zoo because it was filled with animals of all kinds, including elephants and giraffes, but most importantly the birds. Ferdinando was very passionate, for example, about the peacocks, and we have a family of peacocks living still today in the garden. This beautiful lodge here is called the Lodge of Cleopatra because of a mistake. On 2 sides we have these squares around the oval that contain some of the zodiac signs, and inside we have these baby angels called the putti that are holding in their hands the typical hat of the cardinal that we saw in the crest, and they are surrounded by the Medici spheres, 3 per side and 6 in total. Now, during the Renaissance, a major discovery was made in Rome. That was the founding of the Domus Aurea, the villa of the Emperor Nerone, that was decorated with... If you need, in this room we have one more chair in the back, one only. So now we are in the Gipsoteca, because this room hosts the statuary copies that were realized during the 17th and 18th century. At first they didn't use good and expensive marble for the training, but the copies were all realized in gypsum or plaster. And even though these copies are not entirely perfect because they were learning, here we have some of the most... Of the statue at the back. But in the Greek mythology, Niobe was an ancient queen, famous for her fertility, because she had 12 children in Niobe, 6 daughters and 6 sons. And she was, of course, very proud of her offspring. But in ancient Greece, if you're too proud about your qualities or your belongings or your knowledges, and especially if you brag about them, it's considered a mortal sin called hubris, for which the gods punish who commits. There's nothing that you can do, so eventually they will all die. And the mother that was trying to protect the smallest daughter in this moment starts crying relentlessly for the pain, at the point that the god Jupiter decides to intervene, and to stop the crying, he transforms Niobe into stone. But according to the myth of the origins, from that stone the tears never stopped coming down, representing the statues. The originals today are in the Uffizi Museum in Florence, but we're lucky to have the copies, because in Florence they don't have the whole collection, and because it's a museum, they decided to place the statues side by side. So you miss completely the drama and the action of the complex, which is the most interesting part. The only difference between this version and the original one was the addition by Michel Bourbon, the artist that did these copies and the obelisk in 1975, was the addition of the horse. That was not in the original one, but it gives more. And if you're counting the Niobes, there are 12. It's just that one is laying down in the middle of the Acanthus plants, and the peacocks now, which is there. So there are 12. The white one completely matches the statue. It's incredible. It was a real person. Here we have some of the lemons.
Redescendre tous ensemble et ensuite vous serez libre. Et c'est une des scènes les plus intéressantes. Alors, une des choses, vous avez bien vu, c'est que le plafond à caisson est très différent des autres.
lemon is there, if you didn't see it. It's postcard size, very useless. And we are now in the apartment of Ferdinando. He used to sleep in the central room, but we have these two beds in the other two rooms because this became the bedroom of the director Bacchus that I mentioned at the beginning, and his wife used to sleep in the first room. No, because the villa was abandoned for many, many years, and when Napoleon bought it, it was not there. Never found it again. That is not the worst one. Sorry, but I need to close. So the Academy selects every year some artists renew the furniture in a more contemporary way. For this room, they selected the French, like the purple that represents the church, the green of the gardens, sorry, and this shade of red that is called Cardinal Red, that in fact we can also see in the portrait of Ferdinando wearing his cardinal clothes. When he just became a cardinal, he was about 20 years old. This was his bedroom, and we are now in the chamber of the Muses, which are the 9 daughters of the god Jupiter and Mnemosyne, the goddess of memory. Each one of these muses represents kind of a way of expressing the arts and the human knowledge. We have, for example, let's try and leave a little bit of space in the middle so we can make the group enter. So, last room and last step of the cosmological path. After the elements and the planets, this room was dedicated to the birth of the constellations, because this was called the chamber of Jupiter's loves. And we know that in the mythology,